It says going live. We're live. Hello, everyone, viewers everywhere. Good to see you. It's Fluff Ship Network here, but I've got a couple guests with me, PowerCat and Real News Network, two close YouTube friends of mine. And would you two care to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm RNN. Probably a few of you have come over to my channel from his channel, but if you guys don't know, I'm pretty much on the opposite side of the spectrum as him, but we both try and keep it really civil when we do this stuff, so it should be pretty fun, and I'll pass it back to you.
PowerCat, care to introduce your channel?
My name's Liam Hansen. I have the YouTube channel PowerCat Productions. It's mostly made for YouTube hoops and stuff like that. I'm not really openly political, but I don't really want to say I fall in the middle. I guess it's just more that I found myself agreeing with the left on certain things and the right on other things. But I'm kind of just going to be moderating, I guess, this discussion.
Sure, yeah, we can always use a moderator for sure. So, early impressions of the debate. Did either of you have a definitive impression of who may have won the debate, who may have lost it? Just impressions of what went down exactly.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think we can all agree, a much better debate than the first one. And for the first one, even though I fall on the right side, I would definitely say Biden won. I wouldn't say Biden beat Trump. I would say Trump beat himself. And then in this one, I would say Trump, for the most part, remained really calm and didn't really interrupt. The mic muting might have helped that, but I also think he probably practiced that a good bit. So I believe Trump won this one and Biden won the first one.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I'm very much on the left, and I actually, quite conversely, I actually tend to believe Trump won this one. I think in the previous one, I actually do think to an extent or other Trump beat himself by interrupting extensively and making a bunch of pretty outlandish claims. As much as I hate everything Trump said tonight, I despise a lot of what he said. I think a lot of it, based on accounts I've heard, is not true. A lot of it I disagree with. No matter how much I dislike that, which I do very strongly, I do feel that he won this debate, and I feel he won it in a 10-second segment in which he said, essentially he said, Biden's a politician, Biden's playing politics. I think Trump was really isolating himself from the DC establishment, from that kind of thing, and I think Trump is incredibly corrupt. I don't think he has the credibility to distance himself from Washington corruption, but I do think that probably resonated with a lot of people, and I think more and more these days debates are won and lost with just a few little things. PowerCat, did you have any impressions from the debate if you saw it?
Honestly, I agree with you guys. I felt the first time Biden won. I thought this time Trump did much better. Trump definitely remained much more calm. I think he made some good answers to a lot of Joe Biden's remarks. I think one notable exception, though, was when pretty much what happened was it's during the part where Biden was saying Trump is the most racist president in recent years, and then he said Trump, he banned Muslims just because they're Muslims. And I thought, oh wait, no, he didn't. He issued the travel ban, and I was I waited for Trump to point that out, but he didn't point it out. I'm like, why didn't you point that out? That's an easy point, but he didn't. So I was kind of disappointed in him that he did, decide not to do that. But overall, I do think Trump was much more calm this time. Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's interesting for sure. I think in a lot of ways, I think Biden actually he in the first debate, I think he actually did a very good job to maintain his composure in spite of a lot of interruptions and attacks from Trump. In this one, I personally don't love the way he handled it. I think he made some great points individually speaking, but in terms of just keeping it together, I think there were a couple times he stuttered. Trump's campaign assistant, Chris Christie, one of his campaign assistants, talked this week about actually trying to get Trump to hold himself back a little bit more and let Biden, shoot himself in the foot instead of, trying to bulldoze through him. And I'm very sad to say, I think to an extent or other it worked. RNN, you have any impressions as to the different strategy by Trump from one debate to the next?
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting take, but for me, one of the weirdest things was you look at the first 30 to 45 minutes of that debate, and I couldn't tell you who won. I would probably mark the tie category if I was polled. And then at the end, you see Biden make kind of what Fox News portrays Biden as, makes a ton of gaffes. I think, really, if you just take the first 30 minutes, you don't know who wins because they were both calm. And back to what you said about the first one, I definitely wouldn't say Biden was calm, but I would say he was calm. He was upset in a different way, calling Trump a clown and then a racist and telling him to shut up. But he wasn't interrupting, which is what the audience got from that.
No, yeah, for sure. It's a lot. It's a lot like it's like a less orderly version of a naval battle. You see these like the ships would fire one at the other, and then the other would respond. No, it's very much I agree. Biden certainly he did. I think in some respects stoop to Trump's level in the first debate in terms of name calling. I still think Trump tends to do it a lot more. Trump tends to do it in ways that are that I tend to agree with less factually, at least based on my own bias. But I think, yes, for sure. No, I think there was a lot less. I'd say I'd say this second debate was less cacophonous in a sense. I would give it that. So do either of you have outlooks on the general election? What have you? Either of you run any projections? How are you thinking this might turn out? Thoughts on that?
Do you want to go first?
Sure. To be honest, I think Trump's going to win, to be honest, and I think the reason is because I think there are two reasons. Like, I know they're saying a lot right now. Trump's ahead Trump's ahead right now in the poll. Biden's ahead in the polls, and but they said the same thing about Hillary last election, and they said the same thing about Brexit in the UK. They said, Brexit's behind in the polls, so obviously Brexit's not going to win. But then they did win. But the other reason I think is mainly just this kind of pains me to say. It kind of pains me to say this, but I think like the amount of violence that's occurred over the past few months, and very little it had anything to do with George Floyd. It was just all this violence from groups like Antifa and all that, I think probably has driven a lot of people, former independents to voting for Trump or just not voting for Biden. So, yeah, I think that's why Trump's going to win.
And I would add to that, I would say I just pulled up the voter turnout map from 2016. It's from CNN and Fox News and everyone, so there's really no debate on the facts for that one. But the highest turnout states were Virginia, Florida, Minnesota, and New Hampshire. Most of those I think all of those went to Barack Obama, if I remember correctly.
Wait, say that list one more time.
The states were Florida, Minnesota, Virginia, and New Hampshire.
Yeah, at least in one of them. Yeah, go on, though. Sorry.
And they had the highest voter turnout, and you see Trump narrowed the margins in all of them, and he won Florida. And then this year, you see all the news about the record-breaking lines and turnout for this election. So I think that favors Trump. And then you see the voter registration for mail-in ballots. I think somebody released that information. You see Trump's not far behind, even though Democrats are mostly the ones pushing the mail-in and the ones that will be voting mail-in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's very interesting, what both of you bring up, and I think I want with every fiber of my extremely liberal way of thinking for Biden to win. The last thing I want is 4 more years of Trump. I would rather my favorite college football team, I would rather Wyoming cancel their season than Trump win. That's how strongly I feel about this. But at the same time, I got to look at the numbers and think, yes, Biden may be ahead in a lot of polls, but how much does that really mean? I remember in 2016, I was thinking, listen to the polls. I don't think Clinton's ahead. I think the fact that she didn't campaign in Wisconsin and Michigan as much as she should have probably hurt her. With this election, I think it's very interesting. I think suburbs are going to be extremely key, and I think you look at polls, they're saying suburban people are going more for Biden than for Trump. But I think the election will be won and lost in districts like Maine's district number 1 and Nebraska's district number 2. Actually, wait, no, not Maine 1. Maine 1 is pretty solidly blue. Maine 2 is solidly red. Maine's kind of a toss-up as a state, but not the district. But Nebraska 2 especially, it's very much a microcosm of the nation. It contains Omaha, which is bastion of liberal thought, high black population, and there's a certain Hispanic population in Omaha as well. But they changed the district recently to cut out Bellevue and some of the eastern suburbs with more of a Hispanic population and brought in more of northern Sarpy County. They dipped it south to bring in more Republican white suburban voters. So I think it'll very much be won and lost in districts like that, although I've got to say, in spite of the numbers, I'm not feeling overly optimistic for Biden.
Yeah, and then I would say everyone pretty much goes off the RCP averages, which takes almost every poll. The problem with RCP averages, Nebraska giving Trump +7 in every state and giving Biden +11 in every state. So that's hard to tell by the averages. If you take out those two, I think the averages become much more accurate.
Sure. PowerCat, you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I opened it. I said,
oh, right, yeah.
I think what really is going to, I think what's really going to pretty much just, the reason I think Trump's going to win again is I think just over the past, few months, I think just a lot of, I know it's quieted down a bit now, but I think a lot of people were driven, just at least not to vote for Biden by all the violence over the past few months, the violence, the killings, and all that. And I think that's definitely something working in Trump's favor.
Yeah.
Also, I think a lot of the people who aren't, and also a lot of the people who claim they're voting for Biden say, "Oh, we're not voting for Biden, we're voting against Trump." And, I think that's a problem. I think you can't campaign like that. You can't campaign, just as long as it's not this other guy. You actually have to be behind a candidate. Also, I noticed during the debate tonight, Biden, he said, I beat the others because I didn't agree with them. And I'm like, oh man, that's going to hurt, among voters on the left, that might anger some people there.
No, yeah, I would agree, and I think I remember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is actually one of my favorite politicians. She her views actually are not dissimilar to mine as far as many issues go. She's put out this hashtag on Twitter, "Settle for Biden," which I really don't like that. I mean, on the one hand, would I rather have had Warren? Yes. Would I rather have had Sanders? Yes. Would I rather have had Inslee or a lot of other candidates? Absolutely. But at the same time, you gotta throw your support behind Biden at this point, especially if you're the Democrats. This is an election that will shape not only these 4 years, but for several reasons, including the judiciary and the climate, the political climate, as well as the physical climate. It'll shape it for the next several decades. So I think this is the election. The importance of this election obviously can't be understated. You have to 100% throw your support behind Biden. You won't. I mean, you might catch me thinking deep in my head, "Settle for Biden." You will not catch me saying that out loud. Yeah.
I would have to agree, but then again, you see all these people saying that Biden can't win because they're settling for him, but you also see how much these people hate Trump, and that's not going to discourage them from getting out and vote. For example, in 2016, what could have happened, because in 2016, let's be honest, no one liked either one, unless you were a big Hillary fan or a big Trump fan, which most people weren't at the time.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, and that's one of the the dangers with low voter turnout is that it actually leaves us more susceptible to foreign interference. There was some controversy as to whether Trump. Some people thought that Hillary was assisted. I personally was more in the camp that I thought Trump was heavily involved with Russia. That is partly my bias. That was the way I took that. But I think I read something recently. They're saying Iran and Russia are apparently gathering voter data information. Now, this is interesting because I think Russia, I can see a reason why they would help Trump. With Iran, I can't really see a reason they'd help Biden, but at the same time, I also can't really see a reason they'd help Trump. Because if I recall correctly, shortly after backing out of the nuclear deal, the Rouhani administration, with whom Biden had great relations, Biden and Obama had great relations, was none too pleased with the Trump administration. So I have no idea what could happen. Obviously, it's extremely troubling any time you find evidence of foreign interference. What do you two make of that?
Yeah, I could see why Russia likes Trump. I don't know why policy-wise they like him, but I definitely know that him and Putin get along very well. And then Iran, it's like I could see them going for Biden because he might be a little easier on them trade-wise. But then Trump hasn't done too much to be bad to them. So that really just I don't understand right there.
Mm-hmm. No, that's interesting for sure. PowerCat, you have any thoughts on potential interference in the upcoming election?
Yeah, I mean, if there is interference, it's horrible, and we definitely need to, fight back at these people for that. I mean, but it's true. Like, there hasn't been a whole lot of interference yet, but if they do interfere in this election, we have to hit them back one way or another. And again, it's like Hillary. Actually, I remember there was an interview where she said she'd go to war with Iran if she was elected president. So I don't know what Biden has to say about that, but I don't know why Iran. I genuinely do not know why Iran would which side Iran would help. I guess Russia would probably help Trump. I guess, but yeah, pretty much it. I don't really have much to say on that topic.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting, and it's not. I would agree that we should certainly try to discourage these countries from interfering in the future. The only thing I would say is that I would not use military force, because at that point it seems a little bit self-contradictory. You look at throughout the 20th century, Mohammad Mossadegh, Patrice Lumumba, leaders like that across the world, Lumumba and Mossadegh, actually two of my favorites. The U.S. had them both killed, pretty much. I mean, along with the Belgians, granted, and in the case of Lumumba, and along with their effort on Mossadegh in Iran was very much U.S. centric. But I would say the U.S. I think. Oh my goodness! It just showed a remaining meeting time ticker. No, sorry, I was just alarmed. But no, I was just gonna say that I think. I would fear seeming self-contradictory to the outside world. I do think one thing we have to do is regain our reputation in the global community, I'd say. To an extent, rather. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there's a TV on above me. Apparently, a recent poll said 74% people say they believe Trump won the debate.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't. Yeah. Oh boy. I gotta
say that's talking for one reason, and that's because the polls have never favored Trump in anything. So
they don't, and I've one thing I've noticed. I'm a pretty far left Democrat. One thing I've noticed among my moderate compatriots is that is a lot of optimism, a lot of unwarranted optimism, I believe. I try to stay cautiously pessimistic in the hopes of not jinxing Biden, but hey, maybe that's just magical thinking. But I do have one more thing, at least, that I thought might be important to discuss, which is the Amy Coney Barrett nomination. We obviously are aware of the circumstances and the legal precedent heading into that. So, well, what does either one of you think of that? Any thoughts on the Barrett nomination at all?
Yeah, obviously I want Barrett to get confirmed. But you see, I'm not sure if they're boycotting the actual vote. I know they boycotted the vote today for, I guess it was the date of her confirmation vote. But if they boycott the vote, they essentially are giving up any chance they have, because all they need is 3 or 4 Republicans to flip, which could very well happen. With already, I think, 2 Republican senators saying they won't vote to confirm, just the situation right now.
Murkowski and Collins, yeah.
If they don't live up to that, they're just handing the nomination away. And I think, in a word, is kind of childish, but that's kind of where I stand on that.
Power Cat, any thoughts on the Barrett situation?
Well, if Coney Barrett does get, confirmed, I guess good for her. I mean, I think, people, I think people have, like people who I guess are, again, on the other, who disagree with her politics, have good reason to. But I think the people who are attacking her based on her Catholicism are kind of foolish. I don't think that, she's a practicing Catholic. She has 7 children, 2 of whom are adopted Black children. So I think she's, I can definitely respect that. That she's adopted, 2 children. That if she's going to be, she's obviously pro-life, but she's adopted 2 children. So she obviously practices what she preaches, and that's definitely very respectable. And I think people who are attacking her, just based off her Catholicism, it's like people who are saying, "Oh, she's a Catholic, she's going to take away birth control and all that." And then I'm kind of just thinking about imagine one of these people talking with some Ku Klux Klan guy. It's like they're like, "We got to keep Amy Coney Barrett's a Catholic. We have to keep her out of the Supreme Court." And I can imagine the Ku Klux Klan guy then going "Exactly, we got to keep those papists out of the government," because. So yeah, like I said, I don't think but yeah, I mean, if she does get confirmed, good for her, I guess. There you go.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think part of this may be my bias. Part of it may be just because you two are politer individuals than I am, maybe. But I quite honestly, I fervently hope that Barrett does not get the nomination. Several things, at least I'm going to get a little bit opinionated here. Try to keep it civil, but several things concern me. It concerns me that she can't name the 5 essential First Amendment rights. It concerns me that she might overturn Roe. And it concerns me that she might be a lifetime appointment. Those are all my personal things. I don't, to agree with your point, RNN, particularly agree with the move by the Democrats to boycott this hearing. I really think it's very important if we want to stop this nomination, and 57% of Americans, according to a poll, say they would like it to happen after the election. Then I think, oh my goodness, I just lost my train of thought. Point is, I'm concerned about this political move by my party, and I think it would be, if it were me, I would definitely try to, in a way, pander to the moderate Republicans. Murkowski and Collins have already flipped. See if you can get Romney. See if you can get one of the other moderates. I don't know why I'm not thinking of any names at the moment, but for sure, I don't love the political move. I agree with the sentiment in boycotting the vote. I do not personally believe it is fair that there be this trial held in the lame duck era of a presidency, but I think strategically I don't love the move. But yeah, any other thoughts either of you guys had on tonight or the election, the nomination, anything happening in American politics right now?
Yeah, you mentioned possibly converting some moderate Democrats to vote for no. I know you said Romney and I think Murkowski, who already said that she probably would vote no.
Yeah, Murkowski and Collins both did, yeah.
Then Romney said that he would vote on the basis that she was qualified, which that's usually how it is, but recently it's begun. I mean, even for Republicans and Democrats, it's been, are they on your side? And it's drifted away from, are they qualified, which is usually how it was. So I think that we probably should change the basis on how you vote. Either change the Constitution to say you vote for what you want to happen, or follow the Constitution and say vote for a qualified nominee.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's very interesting to me. I've thought a lot about the court packing question, especially as it pertains to Biden, because it's if Biden does win. I personally don't think he'll win, but I think if he does, if I have a number of scenarios playing through my mind, one of which, the only which I can think of packing, is if Barrett gets the nomination and Biden then wins the election. Then I would consider packing. Other than that, I think it sets a dangerous political precedent, and we've got a viewer. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for showing up. That actually means a lot. We've got 3 viewers. Regrettably, we've only got about 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. So, any closing thoughts from either of you?
I would just say that I think we can all agree that this was probably actually a really good debate, just in general. But then considering what happened last time, this was probably an amazing debate. So I think what we have to take from this is you look at Biden and he won't answer some of the questions as a Republican, from a Republican perspective. You have to wonder, where does he really stand on certain issues? And that's how me as a Republican would react to that.
Sure. PowerCat, any closing thoughts in the 1 minute and 40 seconds we've got?
I don't know. I guess I just want to bring this up. I saw this pretty funny, based on all like the cancel culture stuff that's been going around, this whole year. I saw this comedian made a pretty funny point with this video where he pretty much said, like, there's a racist guy and there's a woke guy, and it turns out they're best friends because they agree with literally everything. They're both like, oh, your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything needs to be looked at through the lens of race. And, and then it goes on, it's like, the woke guy says, like, it's like us whites, we have so much privilege. And the racist guy says, I know it is a privilege to be white. And and then it's like, and then the guy says, woke guy says, this, like, I don't think the Union Army was really fighting to end slavery. And the racist guy says, yeah, neither do I. And it's, and it's, I think it's a pretty funny point that I think, like, so many people who go out of their way to insist how not racist they are end up, saying blatantly, end up agreeing with, like, people who openly are actually racist. It's like, they say, like, oh, that taco place is white owned. It's like, yeah, exactly. White people should only be making white food, and yeah, I thought that was a pretty funny video and a pretty good point to make. That's pretty relevant. No,
that's interesting. I'm sure we all have a lot more to say. Quite regrettably, this Zoom meeting is going to shut off. We could, I'm not sure if I don't know if we want to keep our viewers up too much later or keep either of you up too much later. Thank you both for participating, and goodbye.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
And if you just saw that was our live stream. I hope it worked out. Hope it worked for you. Hello, Luke. It's great to see you here. I am so sorry I didn't see you initially. I had a Zoom window up on top of that. It is great seeing you here. Thank you so much for that. It got cut off a little bit, but hope all of you viewers out there enjoyed that. And we'll obviously be seeing how this turns out. Hopefully we'll do another one of these on election night. If you want to call into the show, I'm thinking of adding a mechanism for that. In the meantime, though, I don't know that I have much else to add. Huge shout out to viewer Luke Flyer for watching this video. Luke has been one of the absolute best viewers of this channel. I'm not ranking viewers, but the support has been absolutely incredible. So huge shout out to viewer Luke Flyer, and a huge shout out to all of our viewers around country, around the world, anywhere. I doubt we have worldwide viewers, but be a pleasant surprise. Anyhow, we hope to do another one of these sometime soon. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments section below. Who are you hoping wins the election? Who do you think won the debate? The country will be watching. This is going to be one of the most scrutinized elections in history. It'll be different from anything we've ever had. That much is clear. Sorry I wasn't actually able to get official footage of the other two, but hopefully on election night I'll have that figured out for all of you guys. and gals, or however you guys may identify. And till then, I think this is your old pal Fluff Ship signing out. So long, everyone. It's been a heck of a ride.